new video into the Weather Channel. As Typhoon, say it with me.
Soudelor.
Exactly. It bears in on Taiwan. As you can see, heavy rain drenching the streets. A city just west of Taipei in northwestern Taiwan with up to, actually up to over 12 to 17 inches of rain falling in areas. Landfall expected, Maria, by this afternoon. Awful.
And we are hearing through the news wires that Reuters, in fact, reporting 2 deaths related to the storm right now in Taiwan. What's interesting to me seeing this video is that you still have metro buses running. I mean, I'm not sure when this was taken exactly, but a lot going on there right now, and the worst of it really potentially still a few hours away. We want to bring in our hurricane specialist, Brian Norcross, to talk more about it, because winds are one thing, rain is going to be a whole nother level.
Rain in the mountains especially is what they're really concerned about. They have a typhoon holiday, they call it, tomorrow, Saturday. Now, they're 12 hours ahead.
Okay.
So here it is noonish here, right? So it's midnight there. So that was taken after sunset, looks like Friday night, so not that long ago. So the rain is coming in Taipei, and it's quite gusty, but not super dangerous there. The big problem is in the mountains. You see, we have a 120-mile-an-hour typhoon. We'll look at this really close up, heading right toward Taiwan. And actually, the landfall time looks like now to be early evening our time, 7 or 8 p.m. our time. So that would be 7 or 8 in the morning their time, which is actually good. They get the worst of it in daylight. It's always better to get these things in daylight where you can kind of see what's happening around you. Here's the super close look here, and look at around the eye right in there. See that? See how it's kind of turned into a donut there? And that's a sign that it has actually intensified, and that's because in this area in here, the water is very deep and warm. Now, closer to the coast, it actually gets a little cooler. So the thinking is that it probably is not going to get any stronger before it gets to the coast. In terms of peak winds, probably come down a little bit, but still go in probably as a Category 3 hurricane. And that, again, is later on today, U.S. East Coast time, or early evening our time. Here's that incredible rain situation. So there's Taipei over there, and here's where the focus is, because that's where all that onshore flow is, right in there, where they've already had 18 inches plus of rain. But also, we haven't been talking about China, but the storm is going to go there. It's going to get ripped up on the mountains of Taiwan, but still heavy rain and flooding. And we did a little estimate here, 17 million people or so live in that part of China. So it's not going to be nothing when it gets to China, right? There's more to come downstream.
And we're looking at that official forecast, and you were talking earlier about storm surge not being as much of an issue, and that's because of geography there as well. Because
it's a mountain that comes, a volcanic mountain, right? And then it falls off directly. So the water doesn't have anything to lift it. So we have a kind of slope on the bottom of the ocean or the Gulf, and that lifts the water over the land, but there's nothing to lift here. So it just crashes the waves. The energy is crashing against the coast. So there you see, coming in, that is 8 p.m. Eastern time right there, where it's showing the estimate of when it's going to arrive, and then 8 a.m. arriving over in China after it gets ripped up. And look, it goes from 115 to 75. So still, they've got what the equivalent of a hurricane over there, with a lot of heavy rain and a very big circulation, and then it moves up. So lots of people in eastern China are going to get affected by this. And this is interesting. There is the typhoon. Let me orient you there. So that's Taiwan right there. Another system back here, and this is Japan up in there. Okay, so now you're oriented. Now let me show you the flow. Look at the flow going up like this, right? What does that look like? It looks like the middle of the U.S., doesn't it? And this would be Texas, where it's boiling. Well, they set a heat record in Tokyo.
Wow.
So that's high pressure there. That flow is like this, and so that's what's driving the typhoon into China and up around that incredible heat ridge, that the longest duration ever of 95-degree days in Tokyo in the record book, going back to the 1800s. So an unusual weather pattern there. So there's the typhoon. Guillermo is dying out right near Kauai, and then we've got Hilda, probably not going to affect Hawaii. Another invest, no threat there. And just nothing over here in the Atlantic, a couple of weak tropical waves. That's it.
Brian, thanks so much. Well, folks, coming up on the weekend forecast, we're going to let you know who is going to be at risk for severe weather.
That's all coming up after Local on the 8s in 60 seconds.
Almost like a